My name is Tan Jung, and today I'm going to deliver a speech which is titled, Why Do I Need to Read a Book? So before proceeding my speech, I want to know how many of you are interested in reading a book. So please raise your hand if you enjoy reading a book. Oh, more than I expected. And I thought and only a few students would say like I enjoy reading a book, but that's great. So many times we hear from our parents, teachers, or other people around us to read a book because it is good for us. However, why is it necessary for us to read a book? So through my speech, I'm going to tell you the realistic reasons why we need to read a book. So, why is it essential to read a book? There are two major reasons supporting this idea. So first of all, book is the best source of education. It is through a book in which we can study and grow up. Like in the book, the messages and knowledges that are contained in it, we can learn from it and grow from it. And then secondly, book broadens and deepens our mind and thoughts. Also, furthermore, book provides equal and fair information to everyone regardless of one's background. For example, books do not give better quality information only to the rich or highly intelligent people. It rather grants equivalent opportunities of learning to all people. Thus, the best among the educational materials is a book. Secondly, book changes one's life. So while reading a book, one might experience a feeling of being connected to the source of it as if it were real. According to the oedb.org, reading a book is the original virtual reality, aka VR, as shown in here, VR experience for our brain. Book takes one to travel the world he or she has never been before. Also, book inspires, encourages, and shapes oneself. So various stories of people overcoming challenges or obstacles in life motivates one with confidence and optimism. Also, cheerful and comforting words written in a book encourages oneself. In addition, book shapes one's life by implanting moral values and urging him or her to actually use those values in life. So far, we saw why it is essential for us to read a book. Now, I'm going to tell you what happens in our brain when we read a book. So, let's first see how our brain functions. Yeah, as you guys can see here, what is it doing? Our brain is doing workout, right? It is doing like this. Although you guys may think oh, reading a book is just looking at the words and then it's boring. However, it is not merely looking at the words. It is rather stimulating our brain to burn out calories, to exercise, and ponder upon the words we read in a book. So, for example, when we read a book, our knowledge and vocabulary are increased by 50%. And our the stress level is lowered by 68%. Yeah, it's amazing to see that we can gain knowledge and relieve stress at the same time by reading a book. In addition, our life can be lengthened by 2 years when we read a book. So if you guys want to live long, certainly reading a book can help you with that. So, now that we understand what happens in our brain when we read a book, let's get to know the advantages of it. Okay. First of all, reading a book slows down mental disorders. So such disorders can be dementia and Alzheimer's disease. These are quite hard words, but these are the diseases in which people keep forgetting something. Like this grandma over here, she's saying oh, I can't remember. And then these are the diseases in which people lose their memories, like that grandma over there. Although these are very horrifying diseases, reading a book can help prevent and reduce the possibility of being exposed to that disease. Secondly, reading a book keeps us healthy and sound. So it brightens our mood and helps us to feel happy and confident. Also, it helps us to relax our mind and body comfortably. So this is the reason why we sometimes feel sleepy, sleepy, and eventually fall asleep when we read a book. Okay. And then moving on to real life situations, let's see YouTube versus book, which is better. So, is there anyone who likes to watch YouTube? I'm sure that many of you do enjoy watching YouTube, not just for 5 or 10 minutes, but for hours. However, did you know that overexposure to media can have negative effects in our life? According to the research held by OSU, overusing media such as YouTube can isolate us from our family and friends and take away from the time that we have for other enjoyable things in life. So, thus, therefore, a book is better than a YouTube. So there are 2 reasons supporting this argument. First of all, book contains more insights. Unlike YouTube, which is full of unlimited access of information, whether good or not, a book contains thoroughly valued moral values, which are appropriate. Secondly, book is available everywhere. For instance, when you're reading a book, no one will come and say, "Oh, you're reading a book," and then no one will purposely hinder you when you're reading a book. So these are the 2 reasons why reading a book is important. And in addition to that, an American radio entertainer and writer, Garrison Keillor, said that a book is a gift you can open again and again. Okay, lastly, I want to introduce you 2 famous people whose success was based on reading a book. So, do you guys know who he is?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, his name is Abraham Lincoln, and he was a former president of the US. Since he was a child, he loved reading a book, and he was called a bookworm. And also, the second person that I want to introduce you is he. Can you guys guess the name of this person? Yes, his name is Bill Gates, an American business, influential, and rich man. So, like a President Lincoln, since his childhood, he loved reading a book and considered it as a means to explore new and interesting topics. So, without a doubt, his success as a businessman came from his love, passion, and time spent on reading a book. So, in conclusion, reading a book is important not only for mere reasons. It affects the way we think, the way we talk, and the way we act like this. Thus, when you go home today, why don't you pick any book at your house and read it? If there isn't any, why don't you plan on visiting a library? I'm sure that it will be worth it. Thank you for listening.